Man of the hour, Mr. Trevor Benn, joining us, coming out of a big win over the weekend at the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union Special General Meeting. Trevor, welcome to our broadcast.
Thank you, Sherrod, and good evening to your listeners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and all the listening members of the public.
Great. Happy to have you as always. Talk to us a little bit about the results of the electoral process, the election process of the Special General Meeting last weekend, and how did things go?
So we are very happy with the outcome of the meeting, the special general meeting held last Saturday. We are also very happy with the way the members um, reacted and participated. Sharon, this is the first time in the history of the credit union that so many people participated in a special general meeting, let alone our annual general meeting.
Hold on. Talk to us about a little bit about that very aspect, that historic nature. A lot of people more than usual, maybe in comparison to the last one you had when you were elected first. Talk to us about that and how it differs.
So over the years, when annual general meetings are held, for example, we have never had more than 500 people in the history of the organization. Special general meetings are very rare in the organization. Maybe I could count on my one hand the number of times there has been a special general meeting of the credit union. So this is very historic. The first time we have had a special general meeting with this level of attendance. I believe that the members of the credit union were very energized for the first time in the history of the credit union. And we in the numbers of persons who participated, who registered to participate, the number of people who voted, and so on. You see the enthusiasm in the room, in not only in Georgetown, but in the other regions, the feedback I got. People were really excited to vote. The issues at hand were very dear to many of the people, and they wanted an opportunity to be part of this historic moment. And they showed up as was expected, and they delivered on our request to them. So,
And I was there too as a member of the union, felt the energy in that room, saw a couple times persons, of course, associated with the Gang of Nine, try to disrupt the events of that day. But people, to me, my own personal sense, just wanted to get on with the business of the credit union and not focus on the side attractions.
yes, that's very true. That's very true. You know, we was delayed in the starting of the meeting because there were some people there who sought to um, distract from what was going on. They came there specifically to break up the meeting. They're thankfully members of the credit union would not have it, and we were able to proceed with the meeting on time, and we got the results that we got on the day. Again, the number of people voted is historic. There's never been any person in the credit union to receive the amount of vote that I get this time.
Which was over 1,800, and I think the returning officer said just over 1,900 persons would have voted, and you were well over 1,800 votes of that 1,900 plus.
In 2021, we had over 1,300 people voting, and I had over 1,200 votes as
Yeah,
well. Um,
yeah.
so 2021 was the second highest number of people ever participated. So there, I believe there's something to those numbers, and
Correct.
we have got to give the people the benefit of their participation. Um, the challenge we have in Guyana, unlike any other country in the world, there is a requirement for a quorum, which, by the way, we met, and the chairman made it clear that we met the quorum, and that's why the meeting was started. But they quorum that is set by law is very erroneous on credit unions in Guyana. None of our meetings can be convened or have been convened in the past without the CCDO being involved because we are never able to meet the quorum. But I believe part of the
And this
challenge.
is trade union. This is these are trade unions. Sorry, credit unions of trade unions. The AGMs historically have never been able to do that.
Only credit unions and co-op societies have this issue. Credit unions and co-op society. Nevertheless, we did it for the first time in the history of the country. We've done it. And I'm very proud that I was able to lead this team that made this possible.
And Trevor, you were saying there's something in the numbers. I think it means that you have a mandate from the members of this union to deliver.
Yes. So you were there, Sherrod, and you heard the members made it very clear who they want to run this credit union. They made it very clear who they did not want to run this credit
Yeah,
union.
very loud and very plain language.
Yes, in to that, you know that the members of the committee of management, the former committee of management, had an opportunity to participate in this election as well. They chose not to participate.
Mhm.
They came there with the expectation that we would not have had the numbers to hold the meeting. And so they did everything, by the way, leading up to the meeting to frustrate our efforts of getting the numbers to know what quorum there should be. The day before the meeting, they sent us a letter saying that the number is 25,000 people. 5,000 people include dead people, delinquent members, people who do not have paid up shares, etc., etc. And in calculating the quorum, you cannot use a list with all those people. This is an issue that we have been talking about at the national level with the national elections. And we wanted to make sure that it's not replicated at the credit union level.
Yeah.
And why we asked them, 9 times they were written to, asking for this list to be provided with a breakdown, and they refused.
Trevor, I think it was the court who said that they should do all things in their power to ensure that you guys had the necessary resources and so on to run this election off effectively and have this special AGM and effectively.
They did that in the negative. They did not assist in any way. They went around the country using the members' money in form was illegal and that they should not participate in the meeting. They went to Linden. I got feedback about one meeting they held where a member stood up. That member called me to let me know she had to stand up to them to tell them that what they were telling the people in the meeting was not in keeping with the court's order. They were saying that there was no court order and there was going to be no meeting and people should not register.
Wow.
Region 6, they went to Region 3, they went to Region 10, doing that especially. They also put all kinds of stumbling block at the office. The CEO said that she became ill in the process and she was unavailable for 1.5 weeks because she was ill. And many of the staff were told not to support our efforts. They were actually threatened, many of them were threatened. So we pulled this off without the support of the Committee of Management. The only thing they did in keeping with the court order is made the money available to us. Like I said, I believe they expected that we would not have had the numbers. And so they themselves did not even register to participate in the meeting. But they showed up. They showed up and they came to create mayhem and
Yeah.
discontent.
Yeah, and not only on Saturday, we know the results of that special general meeting and the election for the office bearers of the management committee of the union. But yesterday as well, they started very quietly, the new team moving in to assume the roles they were elected to perform. And then again, this team, the Gang of Nine, led by Miss Karen Van Slytman Corbin, seemed to want to distract from just the sole purpose of what the credit union should be doing at this time, and that is moving forward. What were your thoughts as you saw the morning unraveling the way it did, thanks to the Gang of Nine on full display? And by the way, they said that your team, you all are bullies, but it seemed quite different on camera yesterday. Your thoughts?
Gerald, to say the least, I'm embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed, not um, for me personally, but for the individuals involved. You know, I have been saying to people over the years that I am part of a very toxic group. And that was what was on display yesterday. That is what Patrick Mentor, Rajdai Jagannath, and I endure on a monthly basis when we attend meetings with these individuals. That gave on a daily basis whenever we have to interact with them. There's always a fight. There's nothing that you could say in the meeting that will not attract someone coming after you, almost in a physical way. Which is why many times I've been asking them for these meetings to be held virtually. Because sitting in a room with these members, it takes effect on your mind. And I would really not like to have a confrontation where it becomes physical one of these. And so
But
I
it
have,
looks as though that is what they were pushing for yesterday. We saw several members of the Gang of Nine, as they're fondly called,
yes,
in the personal spaces of the newly elected team. We saw, attempts to overturn the table at one point. We saw a former executive, this is of the management committee, an executive of a credit union, sitting on the table just to disrupt the proceedings, banging on the table almost throughout the proceedings. I mean, this was so unbecoming of executives of a body.
Gerald, you would recall when this government came into power, one of those individuals were asked to demit or roll, and the government had to call in the police to remove her. So it's not new. Members of the public should know that this is a trait in the individual, and they must determine whether or not this is the type of person they want handling their funds. I keep saying to the members of the credit union, this is your money. It did not come from the private sector. It did not come from a grant from the government.
Yeah.
It's members' personal funds that they throw every month over the last 60 years that brought the credit union to where it is today. And they must have a say in how the credit union must be run. No government official, although the act gives power to a government official to intervene in the credit union under certain circumstances, our members must demand that their voices must be heard, and very loudly too. In fact, it started on Saturday. Their voices
Correct.
were very loud about what they want for the credit union, and I'm really hoping that our government partners are listening and prepared to act in accordance.
Yep, and not only government partners, a lot of international partners too are looking on. And I guess with fascination, we have lots of embassies and high commissions here in Georgetown, and this can be part of how business is conducted in the private, public sector, and in allied entities. This is, as you said, you were ashamed, and this was very, very shameful to see. No affront by your team yesterday morning, but just these folks unwilling to accept the will of the people who spoke overwhelmingly on Saturday. What has happened since all of that yesterday?
Well, we heard that the chief executive officer has since written to the ministry asking for them to intervene, seemed to suggesting to the ministry that there is a dispute. We do not accept that there is a dispute. This matter is still in the purview of the courts, by the way, because the judge asks us in the last order to report back to him in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
until we report back to the court and the court has signed off on our report, this matter remains in the purview of the court. And any intervention by any government officials would be interfering with that process.
Yeah. The court is seized of the matter at the moment.
We
We learned also that there is some police involvement now physically at the credit union.
Yes, I was told this morning that the CEO requested and had the police placed in front of the credit union. I don't know what's the purpose. I'm not sure. I should let you know that the CEO throughout this process has refused to cooperate with the court-appointed team. Although,
But I was thinking maybe the police is there to hold at bay those who were tremendously disruptive yesterday. That was my first thinking.
well, that's not the case because they are happily sitting in the office as we speak.
Mhm. So
They're
what you did say that the court is still seized of this matter. You have to report back to the court. That's part of what comes next. But what else are you thinking about? You might not want to play all of your cards now, but do give us an indication of what happens next. How does the union move forward in your estimation?
So we are going to be reporting back, first of all, to the court, but also in tandem, we're going to be hosting a meeting with our members to bring them up to date on what's happening and to seek their guidance as to how we should proceed in this matter. We know that we remain elected and that we will assume office. We will assume office. All of the attempts by the former committee of management will come to an end. We don't want, however, to have a confrontation. We don't want a display such as the one yesterday. In some sense, I'm happy that it did occur because the members and non-members in Guyana and internationally now see what I've been talking about in the terms of the individuals I have had to work with in the last 3 years. They've seen for themselves the approach these women have been taking.
And
Support.
what a display! Yeah, go right ahead.
So it may be embarrassing, but it was a good thing for the world to see what we have had to endure over the last few years. But this too shall pass. We will assume responsibility. I want to give assurance to the members of the credit union that we are doing everything possible to make this happen, and we are calling on them to remain vigilant, remain active. I'm hearing talks about pulling out money from the credit union. Please do not do that. Remain vigilant. Let's meet and talk about the way forward. But all times, let's be diligent and dignified in our approach. Let's not get down to the approach the former committee members have taken. It is not in keeping with our approach to governance of the credit union.
Excellent. Let us end then on that very high note that this too shall pass and we shall continue to conduct ourselves in a very dignified matter. Trevor Benn of Team Ben, congratulations again. A resounding, overwhelming win last Saturday at the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union Special General Meeting there, and congrats to the entire team. Thank you for joining
Thanks.
us.
Much appreciated.
Excellent.